All right, it's James the Giant Economy here. All right, today we're going to go over some crazy stuff that happened this weekend. We're going to look at the energy markets. Energy has been going crazy these last few days. When you look at the monthly calendar right there, it's just, well, it doesn't really show it. But here it is. Here it does. Look at this. Late Friday, as you've probably already heard, the U.S. attacked Iran. And Iran has actually struck back. So here's it leading up to the attacks. The attacks, Iran struck back. And now they think there's going to be peace, right? Or the markets are saying, hey, we don't believe that this is too much of a worry. In fact, in this green candle right here, at the end of the day, shows it's probably going to set at 66 for an hour or so. We'll see what happens as time goes on, right? But the markets are saying, okay, we're not really worried about it right now. Same thing with natural gas, right? Popped over $4, and then kind of came back down. Now, did hit the 200-day average. None of this is trading advice, by the way. None of this is financial advice. But that, if history is kind of went under here, but popped over. History is a good teacher. Then you might want to grab some, right? Because I might grab, it might be a pretty good, pretty decent trade. And look, there's a trend line. It almost matches that trend line that is showing right here. I would say probably right around here, but it might pop up a little early. Who knows? Anyway, and this is what the SPX did. It popped up, popped down, popped back up. Everything's going crazy right now. But the point of this is that Trump attacked Iran. Iran fired back. We did a lot of damage, and it seemed just to we were obliged to attack back as opposed to save face. Right? They did it at one of our military bases in the Middle East. It wasn't really. I think they even told people to get out or something before they attacked it. It was one of those, hey, this is to save face. I don't know, maybe it's just all for show. Who knows? But the biggest thing is Iran vows to close the Strait of Hormuz, right? So what's the Strait of Hormuz? It is, in short, what carries about 20% of the world's energy, both natural gas and crude. It is this guy right here. So this little strait right here that you see all these oil producing countries, they produce probably about 30% of the oil in the world, and and they send about 20% of it through this strait. Now, most of the people that will be affected by this is definitely Asia, especially China, because China imports almost all of its oil and resources. The U.S. does take, I think, like 10 to 30% of what it comes through there, because we have to mix it with our crude to get the right viscosity and settings to go through the refineries, right? All the refineries were made in like the 80s and stuff, like, well, 60s to 80s, and they are fine-tuned machines, and it takes a lot to rejigger them. It's not just like an AC that you turn up and down a little bit, right? It takes millions, if not close to $1 billion, to redo them all. If you want to build another one, it takes like $5 billion in 4 years, 5 years. But the point is, oil is a global commodity. If this gets closed down, it's heavily going to affect oil prices. I've heard maybe $150, $200 or whatever like that a barrel. This strait, here's a closer picture of it. This guy's about 2 miles wide, give or take. You could swim. I mean, some of us could. I couldn't swim unless it was for my life across this thing, right? But my point is, it's very small. You can set trucks with rocket launchers around here and just control the whole thing, right? Now, the U.S., at least with the last administration, I'm not sure, they had some carriers here in the Persian Gulf, right, to make sure that this didn't happen. But who knows what Iran will try and do, okay? My point is, this is just starting. We don't know what's going to happen. If it de-escalates, oil will probably find, somewhat of a bottom here. It might pop back down to low 60s or whatnot. Natural gas doesn't seem too affected. I mean, look at the charts. This is on the daily. It looks like it's still going to keep going up. It'll probably hover around, like I've said 12 months ago, around $4 to $5, give or take. It's already starting to show that. So I'm not really worried about natural gas. The crude is the big one. But so here's some of my conspiracy theory thoughts, right? Trump wants oil prices probably down here, okay? He probably wants them in the 50s. If he can get it to the 40s, 30s, that if he gets it down here in the 30s, 40s, especially nowadays, oil and gas companies are going to go broke. Like the big ones, you're seeing massive layoffs from the big companies. Everyone's going to be hurting in the oil industry. And that will probably rebound, and it'll take 2 years to rebound, and then oil will pop back up very heavily. But here's the thing. Just saying drill baby drill is not working. Okay, oil and gas companies are, they're for-profit companies like we all are. Okay, and so here's my conspiracy theory on this, right? And this is just a theory. This is nothing else, just theory. Is that Trump is a business guy. He knows the only way to motivate these companies to drill baby drill is to get oil high enough to say, hey, drill right now. Like to not force their hand, but to compel them, to motivate them to drill, right? If he gets oil up anywhere up here, these two red lines, oil and gas companies you're just gonna put it into the ground, right? So at the same time, he's got people in the War Department that he's got warmongers, he's got, Lockheed Martin, he's got all those that he has to please. Saying they're going to shut down, and coming in as a president saying you're going to shut down all the wars does not go well with them, right? My hope was he was going to give them a war, and that was the war against drugs. Okay, that was my hope. It seems now that has been put on hold for a little bit, right? I haven't heard the word fentanyl in months from the Oval Office, but it seems it's been on hold, and the war might be with Iran, and that would definitely throw oil and gas prices through the roof. It could be, we could see above 100. This red line is redlining it. That's gonna be some dangerous stuff. But my point is, I think Trump might push Iran, or the characters, whoever is controlling the strings for the puppets, might make this into a bigger thing, and that would give they make oil prices fly through the roof. That would give oil and gas companies in the U.S. what they want, what they need to put as many drills in the ground as they can. They will overproduce, right? The war will come to an end, and all of a sudden, oil and gas prices will tank, right? So we'll have this huge production. We'll make gobs of money, and then it'll go broke, which is oil 101, right? I think that's gonna happen. That's my conspiracy theory. Okay, he'll please the oil and gas companies. He'll please the warmongers. He'll please a lot of people, except for like most Americans, and definitely none of the Iranians. Okay, he'll appease. Hate to say it, but Israel, for why we're so tied to them, I don't know. I have nothing against them. I'm just wondering why I'm just wondering why, right? So that's my conspiracy theory for the day. I'm not saying buy off that, but I'm saying if that happens, oil is going to pop up. If not, we're making a ton of great money on natural gas, right? That is more than doubled since its bottom. Let me find it. Here we go. Its bottom is right there, the $1.60. I wish we had picked it up. It is more than doubled since that. If you put 100 grand in right here, you would have been making a lot of money right now. Anyhow, but that is my conspiracy theory for the day. That is my update for the day. If you have any questions or are interested in this of any matter, or in getting into the oil and gas space or investment space, let me know. Contact me. My information is below, and I'll talk to you on the other side.